of the reasons why Democrats never change is because you guys don't hold them accountable. They know that no matter what excuses they make, that there's going to be a bunch of you coming online to be like, actually, it's not their fault because like the parliamentarian and the filibuster and excuse. But you guys keep saying that you're really concerned about democracy and about Trump. So why is it your hair on fire that she's starting to slip in the polls? That she is tied with him, according to the latest NBC poll. And for those of you who aren't in the United States and can be forgiven that you don't know how our ridiculous electoral college system works, side note, I can do a video about the way that our system is in the electoral college for those of you who have asked if you want. But anyway, and in our ridiculous system, if it's saying that the Democrat and the Republican are tied nationally, that means the Democrat's like behind by 3. Because our system is such a scam and institutionally favors Republicans that the Democrat has to win by a lot more in order to just win. The polls are telling you what you would need to do to get your numbers up. So why aren't you doing it if you're that concerned? Hassan Piker made this point to the Pod Save Bro a couple days ago.
Got to go to the DNC, right? And you actually, because the electorate is on a knife's edge, and in terms of like how closely divided it is and how close 2020 was, you do need the Haley voters, you need the suburb voters, you need the young voters, you need the low propensity voters. Like you need all of them. You do need a coalition that spans from fucking AOC to Joe Manchin to Liz Cheney, just to people who vote, who support those people, not them necessarily.
Okay, but Liz Cheney has like 8 supporters,
right?
Like she's,
but like people who,
Dick Cheney,
right? But like people who, these like suburban Republicans who used to vote for Mitt Romney, who then voted for Joe Biden. You need them. You need the kids who like Bernie. You need the working class folks who maybe voted for Obama. Then like you need all of them, and trying to hold that coalition together against a minority coalition that keeps winning elections because of the electoral college and a whole bunch of other shit is a real bitch.
This idea that they're trying to create this large coalition is just not true. What are you doing to try to appeal to young voters, to anti-genocide voters, to the Bernie left?
No, I'm not saying it's not a complicated process. I do, however, I will push back a little bit on what you said, because here's the reality. Poll after poll shows that if that was genuinely a concern for the Harris campaign, then there is a freebie out there. There are some Americans who want permanent genocide in Gaza. Definitely. They're like, oh, I love it. I want more of it. Please give it to me. They're called evangelical Christian voters that are firmly committed to the Republican Party.
Yeah.
Okay? There are 0 likely Democratic Party voters or currently voting for the Democratic Party that say, we want more genocide in Gaza. That is not a thing. However, on the other side, there are hundreds of thousands of Americans, not just in Michigan, but all around, younger Americans that would more likely vote for the Democratic Party if there was a ceasefire. And the only way to do that is by denying weapons transfers and making the phone call, making the boss call and being like, you're done. The same boss call that Joe Biden did in 2021 after Israel started pummeling and shooting the Associated Press building and stuff, when he was like, you're done. And then the next day they were done. American foreign policy is horrible. Luckily for, I guess, either candidate, there's bipartisan support for it in Congress, and Americans are trained not to care about it. Because if they did, they would go crazy. I think if they hyper-focus on it, they'd be like, oh my God, we are literally the most evil empire of all time. We need to stop it immediately. Americans, by and large, on the other hand, while they don't care about foreign policy, are not neocons, right? They're not invested in nuking Iran even. They might be afraid of Iran because of what, the television is telling them. The Iranian guys are saying death to America all the time. But they don't really care. They don't want the money to go there.
Exactly. If you were that concerned about it, why aren't you taking that freebie? You guys had the opportunity to have a Palestinian speak at the DNC. Many people were pushing for that, to endorse her, by the way. Kick rocks. We're not going to allow you to come up and speak, even to endorse her. We have Republicans we need to feature as speakers. Because the Pod Save Bro was trying to do what Democrats always do, make excuses. Oh, it's really hard. You got to put a lot of coalitions together. And Hassan was like, there's something right in front of your face, right? They could change the trajectory of the polls in the next 3 weeks. They could absolutely do so. So if they're really that concerned about democracy, why aren't they? You think you're going to win Michigan without the Arab and Muslim vote? And there are a lot of people across the country. And I know for someone like me, it doesn't matter because I live in New York, so it's going to go blue no matter what. But it matters in places like Michigan and Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Arizona. Wisconsin also has a pretty sizable Muslim population. But there are a lot of Americans like me who are saying exactly what the Democrats need to do to get my vote. I've made it clear. I've been saying it for months. I know you guys suck. I know. But I did the whole lesser of two evils thing in 2020. I voted for Biden even though I was not happy with him or the chicanery they did during the primary. But Jon Favreau and the other Pod Save Bros, we have literally been telling you for months what they could do to earn our vote. This isn't a secret. I've been telling you this for months, okay? And you guys are still acting like you don't know. Oh, well, I guess because you guys are so busy trying to appeal to Republicans that you're not listening to other people in the country. When I've already said exactly what she could do to get my vote, despite the fact that I'm very unhappy with the way that this campaign is running in general and how right-wing it's becoming every day, that I would still vote for her if they stop the genocide in Gaza and put an arms embargo on the Israeli regime. But they've actually done the opposite. Not only have they said, fuck you to voters like me, we're not doing any of that, they're actually defending the Israeli regime as they are expanding this war into Lebanon, and now they're talking about Syria, and now they're going to be sending troops. Boots on the ground, something Biden said he was definitely not going to do, but now we're going to do. So you guys have actually gone the opposite direction. So before you all cry, because there's going to be a lot of Jill Stein blaming, third-party voter blaming, people stayed home blaming, because the one thing the Democrats will never do is self-reflect and take accountability and, like, course correct. Before you start whining and crying, just know beforehand, that there were things that you could have done to earn people like me's vote. That people like me made very clear that shit needed to change with what is happening in Gaza. But instead, you guys had Tim Walz go out there and talk about expansion. You just had Kamala Harris come out and say, Israel has a right to defend itself. I'll stand with them no matter how many people they kill. And told all of us voters that we could take a long walk off a short pier as the Biden administration cracked down on student protesters. And you guys sat there and did nothing as the Republicans passed insane anti-free speech laws and crackdowns on the First Amendment.